If you can't see the slide into fascism that's currently happening in the United States, you are simply not paying attention.
So that's now the Aussies.
Donald Trump has appointed Nazi-saluting billionaire Elon Musk to take a hatchet to public services.
The Irish.
Yesterday, we witnessed the inauguration of a man whose ideology embodies everything the EU was founded to reject. Europe must resist because our history demands it.
My homeland of the Scots.
The First Minister offered congratulations to the convicted felon Donald Trump on his re-election.
All vehemently opposing Trump as he embarks on his quest to make the US more respected around the world again.
He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent. All of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation.
President Trump is a disaster for humanity. He belongs behind bars, not in the Oval Office.
After Trump's recent presser in which he expanded on his outlook for the future of American foreign policy, that outlook running completely effing contrary to the end of American interventionism that he and his campaign falsely touted during his run for president. And pledged with a full chest, like he was talking about a new building in Manhattan, that the US would just take over the Gaza Strip.
Peter? Would Palestinians have the right to return to Gaza if they left while the rebuilding was happening?
It would be my hope that we could do something really nice, really good, where they wouldn't want to return. Why would they want to return? The place has been hell. It's been one of the meanest, toughest places on earth. And right now, I've seen every picture from every angle, better than if I were there. And nobody can live there. You can't live there. So if we can build them through massive amounts of money supplied by other people, very rich nations, and they're willing to supply it. If we can build something for them in one of the countries, and it could be Jordan, it could be Egypt, it could be other countries, and you could build 4 or 5 or 6 areas. It doesn't have to be one area, but you take certain areas and you build really good quality housing, like a beautiful town, like someplace where they can live and not die. Because Gaza is a guarantee that they're going to end up dying. The same thing's going to happen again. It's happened over and over again, and it's going to happen again as sure as you're standing there, Peter. So I hope that we could do something where they wouldn't want to go back. Who would want to go back? They've experienced nothing but death and destruction.
And as a result, many world leaders spoke out against the president, some more unapologetic than others. Take, for instance, Greens Senator leader in Australia, Nick McKim, who not only vehemently condemned the president, but called for urgent action to, quote, stop Trump-style politics coming to Australia.
If you can't see the slide into fascism that's currently happening in the United States, you are simply not paying attention. At Donald Trump's inauguration, as the billionaire oligarchs lined up to pay their obeisance, the biggest of them all, the most highest profile of them all, the person with probably the biggest social media reach in the world, in part because he owns one of the biggest social media platforms in the world, Elon Musk, literally gave a Nazi salute at the president's inauguration. And for people who are going to try to argue that it wasn't actually a Nazi salute, I'll say this. If you're one of the highest profile people in the world and a massive global debate erupts about whether or not you gave a Nazi salute and you don't come out and say it wasn't a Nazi salute, then it was a Nazi salute. It was a Nazi salute. The United States is sliding into fascism under Donald Trump. And it is marginalised communities who are going to pay the price. Black-skinned and brown-skinned people, migrants in the US, women in the US, transgender and queer folks in the US. They're going to be persecuted and they're going to be demonised, blamed for all the problems of the day. And you know what else is going to pay the price? Nature is going to pay the price under his drill baby drill policies of destroying nature. Climate is going to pay the price, as we're already seeing a withdrawal from global climate action. President Trump is a disaster for humanity. He belongs behind bars, not in the Oval Office.
Now, this isn't the first time that we've seen an international leader as blunt in their condemnation of America's leader. And with Trump's quest to annex Canada, occupy Greenland, the Panama Canal, and Gaza, the need for more leaders to resist is only growing stronger.
Donald Trump has appointed Nazi-saluting billionaire Elon Musk to take a hatchet to public services. He started by shutting down with immediate effect the US Agency for International Aid. I've had development experts in my office today telling me that this means today kids in Timor aren't getting a breakfast. Women across the Pacific have lost access to reproductive health care. That's Trump, that's Doge, and that's Musk at work. So what does a Dutton government offer? The same attitude. 36,000 jobs gone out of the public sector. But he doesn't say who, he doesn't say what, and he doesn't say that he will instead direct billions of public dollars in a massive stream of profits to his big corporate mates, the consultants, the labour hire companies, at 3 times the cost, dripping with conflicts of interest. Instead of a climate department, we'll have the Big Four writing climate policy while servicing the world's biggest fossil fuel producers.
Dear President Trump, listen very carefully. Greenland has been part of the Danish kingdom for 800 years. It's an integrated part of our country. It is not for sale. Let me put it in words you might understand. Mr. Trump, fuck off.
Across Europe, for instance, government officials are literally putting in place safeguards to prevent a replica of what has happened here in the United States taking course in their own respective country.
If you don't like it, you can always take your Nazi salutes and your masculine energy and go back home. To Musk, Zuckerberg and company. In Europe, we have a market of millions of users that provide money to your companies. But we also love protecting our citizens and democracies by making laws. If you don't like it, you can always take your Nazi salutes and your masculine energy and go back home. Viva Europa, hoy más que nunca.
Yes, it appears that allowing a billionaire to spend 250 plus million to sway an election while adding almost 200 billion more to his net worth in the aftermath, while gaining access to voters' database, is something other nations are not willing to let happen on their watch. I know, imagine that.
Yesterday, we witnessed the inauguration of a man whose ideology embodies everything the EU was founded to reject. The EU cannot just stand for our values when it is easy. It matters most when it comes at a cost. And standing up to Trump will come with a cost, but is much less than the cost of letting this poison win. And I am done with the niceties from EU leaders that Trump, while his tech bro buddies call for our laws to be undermined. I am done with the Taoiseach of Ireland, with our historic understanding of immigration and oppression, promoting Trump's golf links in County Clare in response to its inauguration. And I am done with the so-called strong men who, if they had to live for one day in the shoes of an immigrant, a woman, or a transgender person, would quiver with fear. Anyone who believes in the founding principles of the EU should be appalled by what we witnessed yesterday. I am appalled, so I resist, and Europe must resist, because our history demands it.
Well, thankfully for us, here in the United States, there are representatives who share the same tenacity as the likes of Senator McKim here when condemning Donald Trump and Elon Musk, specifically Jasmine Crockett, who refuses to sit idly by while the world's richest man commits a literal heist on information approved by the president.
Feels as if y'all have just decided that y'all are going to castrate your constitutional duty and hand it over to someone who is unelected. It doesn't matter how many cheerleaders he had on the fields campaigning for him. That doesn't mean that he gets to go in and sit atop any of our agencies. And the fact that we had a vote today and we asked to bring him in because we have a constitutional duty. We all took our oath, and maybe some of y'all just don't take it seriously, but I take it seriously when I take an oath to do a job. And my job is to look out and make sure that we don't have any kings or queens in this country. But it seems like y'all have decided that it's going to be Mr. King and his queen, and y'all can pick which one is which.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.